Welcome to the Divine Connection Podcast. I'm your host, Christina Aroche, and together we are walking the path of discovering your true self and the alignment with your soul. Through these conversations, you will experience a deeper level of connection with yourself and the universe, and most importantly, you will trust in your spiritual journey ahead. Let's begin. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Divine Connection Podcast. I am so excited for today's topic because I think that this is something that we all experience, something that we all go through, and that is the question of cultivating more inner peace and joy. And what I want to do in today's episode is guide you through a perspective to help you to deepen that connection to peace and joy, and going a little bit deeper than simply just saying, well, inner peace and inner joy, it's found within. Can't find it from the external, all that whole thing, right? So, obviously there is some external influence that, kind of influences us in terms of our experience of peace and joy, right? Like our environment, the environment that we live in, that we are mostly experiencing in our everyday life, it does have some sort of an influence. And I think that looking at it from the perspective that it can help either enhance our sense of peace and joy or detract from it is a really good way of looking at it. Not that the external is the source of peace and joy, but that it does influence it, right? And so, let's say you're in an environment that is constantly chaotic, constantly, lots of things going on, a lot of maybe the energy's all over the place and things like that. Well, that is going to definitely influence your sense of inner peace and joy. And part of our work is to then shift what the external circumstances are. However, it is really important to also look at our connection to joy and peace from within, and to understand that it does come from inside of us, that despite chaotic circumstances and situations, it doesn't have to take away from the fact that you hold that connection deep within yourself, that you hold that in the presence of who you are, in the presence of the divine, and that when we focus on that being our source, then nothing could take it away, right? Nothing can take away your sense of peace, your sense of joy when you cultivate it from the inside. And so that's one piece of this. And one of the things that I have recently really, connected with in terms of my own journey is this understanding that our sense of peace and joy really comes from the enjoyment of who we are, and the enjoyment of ourselves, and the enjoyment of ourselves in the journey, and, you may have heard the saying before where, people talk about that it's not about the destination, it's really about the journey, right? The journey is the key thing. It doesn't really matter. Like, the destination isn't going to be the ultimate thing, because once you reach the destination, meaning a specific goal, specific intention or desire or whatever it is, that there's going to be more that wants to come through. And so it's a continuous journey that we're walking. And, I know that sometimes we can think of it, or, you might have heard people say, well, you got to enjoy the journey, which, yes, I understand that. But let's be real. Sometimes the journey is not enjoyable. Like, sometimes we go through stuff, the struggles, the challenges, whatever situations. And it's just like, how am I supposed to enjoy this? Like, this is not enjoyable whatsoever. I do not like this. This is not fun. No, like, I'm not enjoying this, right? So rather than putting this pressure on, like, I have to enjoy every moment, or every moment has to feel a certain way, or, like, despite the negative or the struggles, then I have to feel a certain way, instead of putting it and placing it in that direction, my invitation for you is to actually look at it as in the journey, it's the process of enjoying yourself through through the challenges, through the situations, And so what I mean by that is it's really about looking at how you get to look at it from the perspective of, this is who I get to become, and enjoying the transformation process for yourself, right? And in the enjoyment of witnessing yourself going through the growth, going through the learning, going through the experience. And again, it's not necessarily about like, oh my gosh, I'm having so much fun every single second of this thing. However, it is finding a sense of satisfaction or a sense of really appreciation for yourself, for who you are, for how you continuously show up for yourself, how you do the work, how you are transforming, and as you lean into that sense of enjoyment of yourself on the journey, right? Like, I'm enjoying my own company. I'm enjoying seeing myself, how I'm growing, how I am navigating such situations, how I lean into my resiliency, into my power, into my problem solving mindset, and all of those things. It's like the enjoyment of witnessing yourself and the enjoyment of seeing who you get to become through the process. Doesn't mean that the process itself is enjoyable, but it is enjoyable to see that you are growing and that you are transforming and that you are learning and that you are expanding in who you are, right? And so as we lean into the actual energy of enjoyment of ourselves and of who we are, what happens is that it actually supports us in keeping our heart more open as we go through any sort of, struggles or challenging times. Because the thing is, and let me know if this is you. I know that this is definitely me, is that there have been situations in the past where, whatever struggle or challenge, and I like, my first thing is that I want to close off. Like, I just want to close my heart, close myself off, like, forget everyone, screw you, like, no one to talk to me. Like, that whole thing. Like, my initial reaction is that I want to shut down. I just want to shut down, close my heart, like, no, forget everything. And so rather than doing that, it's about leaning into, how can I bring in this enjoyment of myself, right? No matter what, enjoyment of seeing myself, witnessing myself, experiencing who I am in every moment. And as I do that, it actually helps me to keep my heart open. And with our open heart, what happens is we get to experience more of this divine love and higher perspective and divine solutions coming in. We get to really be supported in shifting our energy in those moments when, our energy has just tanked because whatever happened. And then, it influences us in that way. And so when we can keep our heart open rather than just like shutting it down, what happens is that we also begin to be more connected to the divine, right? Like the divine energy that surrounds us, but also to our true spirit, right? The true spirit of who you are, your divine self, your divine soul. And in that experience, that is where the knowing of your true self, the knowing of who you are, really gets to come through and gets to lead you. And so this is then where the conversation of self-leadership comes in, and leading ourselves through the hardships, through the struggles, through the challenges, to get to the other side, and staying in our power, staying in our truth, so that we can continue to walk the path, right? And so this is something that I really, really feel is a huge part of our journeys, is that, aside from, the lessons that we need to learn and healing and all of these things, I really believe that God is leading us on a journey of true enjoyment of who we are, and the true enjoyment and finding peace in who we are. And in that process, as we experience that, that is where we find our soul's truth. That is where we find our soul's voice, our soul's expression. And I actually want to go further into that in next week's episode. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about this more. But that's what I really feel that this comes down to, is that in the enjoyment of who we are, not only are we then experiencing a deeper sense of peace and joy and connection to ourselves, but through the enjoyment of you, of who you are then finding your soul's voice, your soul's truth, your soul's expression, right? And then that continues to lead you on the path of your greatest potential, because now you're in this interaction, you're in this connection with yourself, right? With your true self, and you are in the energy of enjoyment, with which obviously, influences your frequency and your vibration. And as you are in that space, it's going to help you to see things from a different perspective, make decisions for yourself that might feel a little bit scary, a little bit out of your comfort zone, but that continue to elevate you so that you follow the path that is meant for you, the path of your greatest expression of who you are, right? So this is what it all kind of boils down to. And I invite you to think about this, today, looking at it, especially if you have felt frustrated in a certain area of your life, or just feeling maybe discouraged or just struggling or whatever the thing is. But I really encourage you and invite you to look at this, like in this specific context or situation, where can I find the enjoyment of myself right now? The enjoyment of witnessing myself in the growth, witnessing who I'm becoming, right? And also looking at this from the perspective of I get to become this version of me. I get to become the version of me who finds the solutions. I get to become the version of me who went through this specific circumstance and who got to the other side of it, right? I get to be the one who experiences, true love and freedom and this and that because I'm going through this challenge. So seeing it as I get to become this version of me, and I get to witness myself becoming, and in the witnessing of the becoming, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. And the enjoyment of seeing yourself evolving and transforming. And I guarantee that if you take a moment to just reflect on this for yourself on your journey, right? And the easiest way is even just reflecting back to last year, this time last year, where were you? What were you doing? And just seeing how much you have learned and grown, and how much you understand more about yourself now than you did a year ago. And then seeing how that now translates into your current circumstance, and then imagining yourself in a year from now, how you're going to look back on this moment, and what would you say? Right? Like, what would you say? What would you be thinking right now? What would you be experiencing? So I want you to take this and really sit with this, take this in, because when we can, really just take a moment to pause and experience the enjoyment of ourselves, it completely changes everything. It changes everything from our connection to the divine, our connection to God, to the angels, to ourselves. It changes our connection and awareness of, what might be ahead, or the divine solutions, or, whatever we are seeking in that moment. And it helps us to be more empowered. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a deep sense of empowerment in yourself and in who you are, which is then going to support you as the journey continues to unfold. So I would love to hear from you in the comments below. Let me know how this lands with you. Let me know how this sits with you. And let me know, like, what is it that you can lean into right now for yourself? Like, who do you get to become in your current circumstance? Who are you becoming? Let me know in the comments below. And then the other thing that I want to share with you that I'm really, really, really excited is that doors are open right now for a limited time to the Soul Awakening program. And this is a course that I'm just so proud of and I just absolutely love so much, because it literally takes you step by step through the journey everywhere from the beginning of, challenges or circumstances that really feel hard in your life, transmuting them into your power, helping you to let go of old identities that no longer serve you, helping you to connect to your true self. And then it walks you through the journey of coming into the full expression and embodiment of yourself, of who you are. So this is a course for anyone who is on this path that might be questioning, like, who am I? What am I doing? What's next? Am I doing the wrong thing? Like, being in that place where you're just like, I know that there's more, but I'm having a really hard time figuring it out what that is or how to get there or what my next step is. Like that, if you're in that place, this is for you. Soul Awakening is for you. It is a self-study course. There is pre-work that you get to, that will set you up for the actual course content. It is 8 modules plus the pre-work, and it is honestly such a powerful experience. And right now, for a limited time, doors are open. You get 40% off when you sign up. And I'm telling you, if you are in that place, if this episode resonated with you, then you're really going to love the content inside of Soul Awakening. So if you want to learn more, if you want to join, then you can find all of the details in the link below this video or this episode if you're listening on the podcast. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. But this is the program for you. This is the program. This is the answer. If you've been like praying, being like, what is my next step? What do I do? How do I move from here? This is the place. This is your next step right here. Okay. So go check out all the details in the link in the show notes and come join me. I cannot wait. This is going to be such a powerful time together. And that is it for today. So thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you in the next episode. And as always, I'm sending you so much love and angel blessings. Bye. If you are someone who is seeking to be supported by the angels, to deepen your connection to the angels, to understand how to work with them in your everyday life, then I invite you to join me inside of my membership group called the Angels Guild, where we go deep in understanding how to connect with each of the archangels, understanding how they are here to support you, and to guide you on your journey of growth, of connection, of living in your highest potential, opening up to your gifts, living in your truth, and being empowered in who you are. Join me inside of the Angels Guild. All of the details to join the membership are in the show notes below.